If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. Hello, Lost on the Road subscribers and followers. Someone asked a question about one of my earlier videos. Got me to thinking about how naive I was when we first started this adventure. I remember when we went down to Florida for our test run, and I mean, really, it was a flawless run. It was a great, flawless adventure. But since then, getting to one location to another location, and began to realize that there are some sad truths to the world, and I'm sure a lot of people know about these truths, but to actually witness it on a regular basis, it's kind of sad. It was sad. It's heartbreaking, actually. How many people are homeless living out here in the national forest and city parks and different things? As a matter of fact, one person told me a while back that he never thought city parks were that dangerous. Well, our first experience with a city park was called Ray Springs, and it's in Ray, Tennessee. We were there a day and a half, and they ended up shutting the place down. Well, I mean, it was supposed to be a 2-week stay limit, and they ended up shutting the place down the day after we got there because of the homeless and folks making illegal substances. It was a very scary place. It was sad, and it really started to open my eyes. Now, Ray Springs was probably the third location that we stayed at. We hit a very sad experience. Well, then we moved on to the next location called Walnut Flats, and that was in the Thomas Jefferson National Forest in Virginia. Beautiful spot. It had this place called Dismal Falls. Well, about the third day there, a U-Haul pulled up with a woman, a man, and a child. Now, the man and the woman were arguing, and it became clear to me that what the situation was the woman and the man were exes. They separated at some point, and they shared the daughter. Well, somehow or another, it appeared that this woman had gotten in trouble, and she needed the man to look after the daughter for an extended period of time, while she lived in a tent with all her belongings. That's what the U-Haul was. They unloaded the U-Haul, put all her belongings in a tent, and then the remaining of the belongings went into the vehicle. She drove the vehicle, he drove the U-Haul. It's a confusing scenario, and I'm not sure how to explain it really well. But for the remainder of the time we were there, she lived in that tent with her belongings. Several times she had mentioned if we could charge her phone for her so she could contact her daughter. It was just sad. I mean, there was something really odd about what was happening to her. And a young woman, prime of her life, in some sort of trouble where she felt like she needed to live in a national forest, and her daughter was screaming, "Mommy, please don't," as they were leaving. It was just heartbreaking. Well, then the next location we went to was called Hawk Point. And there was a couple, a man and wife, who had a pickup truck, and it was a fairly nice pickup truck, and they were living in a tent. He would go every day to go to work, and she would stay behind and live in the tent. It was a miserable existence for her. You could really tell she was miserable. And as I already told you, most of the year last year, we were in the 50s degree temperatures, and it rained. So just imagine this woman having to live in a tent while her husband went to work. I mean, I have to commend him. He was really making an effort, from what I could tell, to support his family, but they just couldn't. And so where do they go? The National Forest. It just seems like it's an epidemic. People are just staying in national forests. And it's just a sad truth to what's going on out here. And a lot of people tell us, they want to come out here and live and be free and really have a wonderful life, but you do see a lot of sadness out here also. We stayed at a place called West Tower. It was in Osceola National Forest, and we met a woman, an older woman, who it really appeared that she had no one to take care of her. And I made a video about this lady. She was living in a Class C, and apparently she got sick. And the campsite host had to go to town, call an ambulance. They came and got her. Well, a few days later, several days later, they brought her back in this medical van and told the campsite host about the medications and different things that she was going to have, oxygen, and they put her back into Class C. Well, the campsite host had to move her camper over to the electrical site. The sad truth is this woman, older woman, she had to be in her 70s, is living out here in the National Forest, gets sick, and the only person that she could rely on was the campsite host. Now, these free campsites rarely have campsite hosts, so she was very lucky to even have a place to stay like that. I told you the other day about a campsite host, and I'll put that link to that video right here. He has a van, the 1980 or 81 van that he lives in. He doesn't get paid for his campsite hosting, but he does consider himself homeless. He has stayed here. He has to clean the bathroom, and he gets a little spot to stay in the national forest, miles away from town. His van rarely runs. I told you that he had to replace the distributor. It took him 6 months to save up enough money to replace the distributor on his old 1980 van. Well, we were talking one day, and of course, he says he has some dependency issues, and he would really like to get back to living in a stick and brick and having a normal life. But he got to telling us the forest that we're staying in has become a hobo forest, that most people in it don't have a home. They come out here so they can indulge in their addictive behavior, not have any money, and really live terribly. It was very sad. I mean, we stayed in this forest all winter. One old fellow that we met, he was living in a tent, has 2 little Dachshund dogs. He really loves those dogs. An old pickup truck. And his only option to take a bath, his only option that he felt like he had, was to take a bath in the river. He's taking a bath in the river. Now, it was very cold at the time that he was doing it, but if he is still there and he's moving from campsite to campsite, there is a potential for alligators to go after him. We just heard a story not that long ago, a few days ago, where a lady walking along the bank of the river in Florida got swept away by an alligator. She has passed away now. So I can't imagine this old man having to take a bath in the alligator-infested waters of Florida, and that's a happy lifestyle. No, it's very sad. So if you do come out here, be aware that you're going to run into just one heartbreaking scenario after another. So thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Click like if you like the video, and happy travels.